The Mass deserves properly composed music. Hindi yung basta-bastang out of inspiration, somebody just created a song and he made use of it in the Mass. What are the very basic rules about composition? And what is good music? How is good music made? Okay, so disclaimer before we proceed again. Yes, I compose, but I don't claim to be a composer. I'm more of a choral arranger than a composer. So we probably know that, of course, when you're a musician, you need creativity, you need inspiration. But basically, you have to be creative in order to create songs. Okay, so composers have to be creative, but it is not just about creativity. It's not because that you think about a good melody that you just begin composing songs. Composition is also a skill, meaning it has some sort of techniques that you need to master. So what are these techniques? Because most of the time, there is too much creativity involved in composition that we disregard the basic rules of composition, and we end up with good melodies, but sometimes the lyrics are awkwardly applied to the melody. What goes first when we compose? So when we compose, it is important to write the lyrics first. If you are if you write the lyrics, or have some body write the lyrics for you, it is important that you have the lyrics first. You don't compose music with the melody first. So it's lyrics first before the melody. Lyrics first, melody later. Why? Sometimes it's a beautiful melody, and yet here comes the lyrics that you write later, and what happens? Sometimes there is cramming of lyrics. So you find out that you have a very good short melody, and you want to keep it that way. And then your lyrics, there are 2, 3, or 4 or more syllables that exceed that melody. So what you do is you adjust the melody in such a way that you cram the lyrics, and it will sound awkward. It will sound awkward. So there's a part of the song that that sounds okay, and then so you cram lyrics into the melody because you make the mistake of composing the melody first. Okay? You write melodies, you have to read the lyrics, because the melody has to follow the rise and the fall of how you read the lyrics. And what happens when you do not follow that? You have songs like a popular song that for example, is Still. And it has this awkward word, hide me, Lord, under your wings. Okay. What is the awkward syllable? It's under. Why? Because we are supposed to read the word under, and the accent is on the first syllable, under. And what did the composer do? Under your wings. So the melody accented the second syllable, so it sounds awkward, no? Under your wings. So if you are familiar with this rule, that when you compose, you have to follow the rise and the fall of how you naturally read and pronounce the words, you will really observe a lot of songs that do not follow it. So it sounds awkward. Okay? And when you write, for example, why is it important to consider the lyrics first? Because you have to write according to the lyrics, to what the lyrics mean, for example. So, when the lyrics mean something else, and then you have written the melody, the mood of the melody might not express what the lyrics want to tell you. For example, the melody is do 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 That's the melody. So, and then the lyrics is tayo'y magalak, tayo'y magsaya. So when you sing tayo'y magalak, tayo'y magsaya. Now, does the melody reflect the meaning of the lyrics? So the lyrics say tayo ay magalak, tayo magsaya, but the melody sounds otherwise. The melody sounds sad and melancholic. Okay, that is why it's important always lyrics first. Lyrics first. Another example, for example, is just to sum up why lyrics should be first. Okay, so lyrics should be first and melody should be composed later. For example, let us compose a new Holy Holy, for example, for the Mass. Holy, 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 Lord God of hosts, heaven and earth are full. Okay, two mistakes. Holy. Okay. The wrong syllable is accented. Holy, it should be holy. So we emphasize holy, not holy. Okay. Second mistake is heaven and earth are full. Can you figure out what is wrong with that? Heaven and earth are full. What's wrong with that? You might notice that heaven and earth, heaven speaks of up and earth speaks of course, down here. And your melody is heaven and earth. Now that's a little reversed, don't you think? Okay, so it really does not, your melody does not fit the lyrics of the song. So important, lyrics first, melody later. Next, melody first, and next is melody. Melody second, chords later. Melody second, chords later. Sometimes we get excited to compose and we just begin playing around with chords on the guitar or on the keyboard, and then you suddenly play a typical chord pattern because you are always using that chord pattern. The danger there is you begin composing with chords, the progression of the chords, and not the actual melody. So your melody now depends on your chord progression. So what happens there is when you use a typical chord progression that is commonly used, your melody most likely will also sound common, will sound very familiar, and therefore it will not sound original. So that's the danger there when you use chords first. So melody first and then chords later, so that you can really come up with an original melody. Okay? There are many formal rules regarding composition. These things, lyrics first and then the melody, and then melody first and then the chords later. That's the typical pattern, so that we can come up with something really original and something that sticks to the lyrics. It's good to guide ourselves, for example, with these rules. But the other extreme, the other end is that I noticed this with many liturgical musicians who are so obsessed with following strictly the rules of composition. Sometimes, when we have too much of the technique, of the skill, of the rules, and lesser of the creativity this time, we end up with boring music. Yes, it sounds normal, it sounds okay, but it's boring. It does not have appeal, it doesn't have beauty. Why? Because you just followed the rules. So when you do composition and when you analyze, for example, what is good music for the liturgy, take note of that. No, good music is a balance of creativity, inspiration, and proper technique and following the rules and regulations of composition. So I hope this short instruction on the basics of composition and good sounding music will help us recognize what is quality music for the liturgy. Not just some ordinary unpolished piece of music. Again, the liturgy deserves our best. The liturgy deserves good sounding music, because the music, remember, is a symbol. Music is a symbol in the liturgy, and in order to be effective, it has to be of quality. So, dear musicians, God bless you in your quest to search for not only what is liturgical music, but what is also beautiful music.